Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast. And I think, as you can tell by the guest I'm joined with today, Winston Neville, co-host of the Orange Peelers podcast, TikTok sensation, hot dog man. How are we?
Yeah, living the dream, mate. It was a good weekend of footy. I think obviously some good things happened and some bad things happened, but overall, living the dream. How you going, mate?
I'm good. I'm actually a bit like mixed emotions about the footy at the moment. With Cronulla looked like they were about to get shocked on Thursday night.
Oh,
You were messaging me through the game. You're like, "What's going on?" And I'm like,
the first half wasn't good from the Sharkies.
"Oh no, less than impressive." You know, like statistically, we're like the best attacking team at the comp. It's just like we did put the points on in the end. We got over the line, but like, you know what I mean? Nicho Hynes definitely got the 3 Dalian points that week.
100%.
But
100%.
He turns it on and he's trying to show Brad Fittler why he needs to get picked for the Blues next year, maybe.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, if not almost everyone, probably thought that he would have got selected in Game 3. And then he just didn't because Brad Fittler's an idiot. But he definitely proved himself again. He's proved himself already, but he proved himself again that he should be in that squad.
Yeah, 100%. But as a Doggies fan, there's a lot to cheer about.
There is, mate. There is.
A lot to cry about and a lot to cheer about.
Look, obviously it's sex season at the moment.
Yeah.
We signed Toby Sexton last week, midweek. He had 2 training sessions and then came out and played like Prime Cooper Cronk.
Well, it got confirmed on like the Monday night, didn't it? And then he got named in the team on the Tuesday.
Yeah, so it's sort of the news sort of broke Monday night with like all the journalists and that breaking it, and then the club confirmed it on the Tuesday, and then got named on the Tuesday, which a lot of people were like, is he going to get named? Like, we've only just signed him. Is it smart to name him? But they named him, and then he had 2 training sessions, and they threw him out there to the Wolves.
He did well. That try-saving dive. That try-saving dive, because I think I caught the end of the game, and because I saw the scores were like getting really tight, and South were making that little comeback.
Yeah.
I turned it on, and then I think it was in a couple of minutes after I started watching it, he did that dive. I'm like, there's evidence. He's a dog. He's got that heart.
He's got that dog in him.
He's got the dog in him.
Because obviously, like when the rumors broke, I watched Titans games and that, but not recently because he hasn't played all year, right? So I went back and I literally watched an entire game of like the last game that he played for him, which was the one game he'd played this year, just to like get a feel of, you know, what type of halfback he is and that. And he's just so organisational. He's got a good kicking game. But the one thing I noticed that nobody was really talking about was his effort. Like, he's just all effort. Like, for example, when the other team puts a kick in, obviously forwards don't really get back very fast, and especially the Bulldogs, like, they're so lazy and arguably unfit that nobody gets back. But one thing Toby Sexton did at the Titans and on the weekend is he was like always first man back there, just organising stuff. And if, somebody made a line break, he's always there in support. And so it was pretty cool to see that like the last play of the game was him just being all effort, diving on a loose ball, where if he doesn't dive on that, South score and win the game.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, it's good.
He's definitely your most pure half, like that at the club now, because like obviously that was you have a lot of them at the club, but they're all like for instance like Oluwapu's coming through, and then Flanagan is kind of fringe as it is, and then Burton's obviously still learning his trade, even though he's a very, very good player.
I think we have a lot of 5'8s as well. That's the thing. Like, we have a lot of 5'8s who can play halfback but can't play it, exceptionally. Like, obviously Burton tried to be halfback and he did the job, but he's not a halfback. He's a 5'8.
I think at the end of the day, Burton, the way he played as a halfback, he's like if he was playing 5'8 on the other side of the ruck.
Yeah,
like that's literally the way he was playing.
Because he's not organisational. He's a ball runner.
Yeah.
He can kick, but
And funnily enough, like that's something I was actually worried about with Nicho Hynes when he came to Cronulla. I'm like, when he got named as halfback, I'm like, is he going to have that organisational trait?
Yeah.
Which I think maybe one of the main differences between Burton and Hynes as a half, that Burton's more kind of ball in hand and he's going to put those bombs up and he's going to run at your defence, whereas Nicho doesn't necessarily have to do that to have his hands all over the play, which I think is cool.
No, I agree.
Yeah. And you're obviously wearing the Josh Reynolds shirt.
Yeah,
I love the graphic tee. It's great.
Nice,
It's great. Because I think you showed me one of those. There was a Nicho one, and I'm like, I've got to get it. I'm still yet to buy it, but I think that'll definitely be a new addition soon.
Even I'd rock a Nicho shirt, to be honest.
Yeah, I think anyone would.
Nicho Hynes.
As even if he was wearing a Blues shirt, I still love him. I still love him. But yeah, obviously Josh Reynolds yesterday, the big news.
Announced his retirement, which was super sad. Obviously, like as we were just saying before we jumped on here, that like it was expected. I don't think anyone thought that he was going to play on beyond this season. was sort of, it has always been just like a fairy tale season, but still the timing of it caught me off guard. Like I didn't wake up yesterday thinking, oh, Josh Reynolds is retiring today. Yeah. And like he was my childhood hero. He's one of my favourite players ever. I think if you ask any Bulldogs fan to name their top 3 favourite players all time, Josh Reynolds is there for like literally every.
100%. He's up there with some of the Canterbury greats.
And like you're a Sharks fan. Like how do you feel about like Josh Reynolds retiring? Like did it impact you at all? Like did it affect you at all?
No, I think he's like you. I think not just for rugby league, but I think sport in general at the moment. I think there's currently a phase going through where you're seeing like those players who played with like the old school players and they're starting to phase out in the game.
Yeah.
And I think Josh Reynolds is one of those true guys who understands the mesh of what the new kind of rugby league style is and what the old school rugby league style is. Like if he was fit, he'd be all effort, but he still gives it his all passion. You know, he's literally nicknamed the Grub because he'll get in anyone's face, whether it's bloody, I don't know, Payne Haas or like the shortest bloke on the field. You know what I mean?
Ref. You saw it like in one of his last games against
the Dragons. Oh, that was so funny.
The ref. And that's what he said in his press conference. He was saying like that, like the effort and the mentality is still there, but his body's just like not going with it.
Yeah,
and, which is like sad. Like that's what happened.
The worst thing he ever did was move to the Tigers.
Yeah, and he said he just regrets it so much.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
But I'm just like, as sad as it is that he's retired, I'm just grateful that we got like a farewell to kind of thing. Like we got one more year of seeing him like not only pull on the blue and white jerseys but also finish his career.
Yeah, how old was he when he moved to the Tigers?
He was sort of young, like late 20s, like around 28.
So basically hitting his prime as a half.
Yeah,
and then he went Super League, didn't he?
Yeah, went to Super League and just didn't kill it there, and that's why. And then he had like a year off.
Yeah, and then he got that training trial deal, and then obviously got named in the top 30.
Yeah, and then got to make his official return. And
I think not has a lot to do with it, but I think he's figured out that by the Dogs bringing Toby Sexton in, his services aren't.
Well, that's the only reason they got to bring him in was because he gave up his top 30 spot.
Right, that makes sense.
And and like there was news breaking before the game on Saturday. It was like Josh Reynolds basically like gives up his career, and it was Daily Telegraph, so it's behind a paywall. I was like, what's this all about?
Yeah.
And that's why I was like having conversations with people that night and on Sunday, like talking about like, oh, like he's gonna retire anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't think.
So it's whether he played cup for the rest of the year, or if he just gave up there.
So he had a top 30 spot, and the top 30 was full.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can play if you're outside of the top 30. It depending on like injuries and stuff, but to sign Toby Sexton, somebody had to lose a spot, and so he put his hand up and said, "Yeah, I'll move myself on."
Yeah. Whilst we're on the topic of the Dogs, a few young guns on the weekend played, and they actually impressed me.
Yeah. Who did you find most impressive?
Quay Ward.
Yeah, the centre. Oh.
He looked good.
Yeah.
He had a few good tackle busts, this and that, doing his thing. Was he playing in centres?
Yes, he's a centre. He's a big body. Because
I was going to say, I didn't know if he was playing on an edge at one point, because he's a big boy.
He could handle the edge.
He's a big boy.
He's sort of slow as well.
Yeah.
So he probably would suit second row.
Yeah, less mobile centre.
Yeah, we signed him mid-season from the Broncos, like a month ago, I reckon. And ever since we got on, I've been watching, like I watched Cup obviously for that reason. Like I've been watching Ethan Quay Ward closely, and he's a big boy, can bust a tackle.
He could be anything.
He could be anything, and that's like a lot of Bulldog fans and maybe even NRL fans have been like, why isn't Skelton getting picked? And ever since we signed Quay Ward, I'm like, Skelton's not getting picked over Quay Ward. Like Quay Ward, Skelton's got errors in him and his defense isn't all there. Where Quay Ward, he's like NRL ready.
Yeah,
and he was NRL ready at the Broncos, and then when news broke that someone was debuting, everyone was saying it was going to be Skelton.
Yeah. And
then Guru was like, no, it's Quay Ward. And I'm like, that makes sense because, could be anything. I have a mate who plays in the Panthers system. He's in between like Flegg and Cup. And I was watching him play Cup the other week against the Bulldogs. And he had to mark up against Quay Ward and got towed up.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Poor mate.
He wasn't happy.
Yeah. But yeah, and then obviously Wilson got the Hattie as well.
Which another player I like watching in New South Wales Cup because I noticed him in the trials at the start of this year.
Yeah, because he was meant to play Magic Round, wasn't he? And then something happened. Didn't Kiraz?
Yeah, he was meant to debut instead of Kiraz. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Magic Round
ended up playing.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, he's such a good player. He's a good kid as well, and it was his first try, and then it turned into a hat trick.
Yeah, that's
and
insane.
He had the try celebration as well.
Yeah. Do you think he keeps his spot on the like in the side. Like maybe they shift him to centre because obviously they've pushed Averill at fullback now.
Yes, if I was picking it, because obviously Adokar comes back in this week.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to make room. I'd be pushing Kiraz to centre. And then I'd and obviously Fox comes back in on that wing, and then I'd bump out probably Quay Ward and keep Burns.
Yeah.
Because Burns is just more reliable, but I'd happily keep Quay Ward. Or even
I'd say you keep Burns at the centre, more experienced head.
He's so reliable.
Yeah, and you can put him on, like you can put either of them on either side because they can all basically play on the wings, and if they want to cover centre as well, then it doesn't really matter. They can if they can distribute out of both hands.
And like Kiraz debuted at centre, and he was a really good centre last year.
I didn't know that.
And then just ended up moving to the wing. I don't know why. So like he'll handle.
He's a big enough body to play centre.
Yeah, 100%.
He's huge. Because I remember in that Cronulla game when we went to watch Dogs Cronulla, when Perham got moved to centre, someone got moved on the wing, and Kiraz was at fullback at one point.
Yeah.
And then it ended up changing to Averillo and then back to Perham, and I'm like, what's going on? And you're like, why is Ciro making changes mid-game?
Yeah, Kiraz can cover fullback as well. He actually trained at fullback in preseason up until Christmas.
Interesting.
They sort of changed their mind because they just didn't have a winger.
Yep.
They didn't have anyone to cover the wing well enough.
Yep.
It's like Wilson was still just in cup at that stage and stuff.
Yep.
And so that's half the reason Perham ended up going to fullback.
Yep.
Is because Kiraz they needed a winger.
Yeah.
And so they pushed Kiraz to the wing.
Yeah.
Because he played fullback in the World Cup for Lebanon.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I know you're going to go over a lot of this on your own pod, but let's just briefly touch on the games this week. Is there any other ones you wanna mention? Because obviously it's obviously rep round, so there was only like a select few games that got played, but you obviously had a core on Saturday night.
Well, we were talking about the Sharks Tigers game, obviously 12 all at half time. But what did you go deeper on the Sharks? What did you?
Well, I'll be honest, right? I was watching the game, but I had the Ashes on at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was watching both. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Cronulla are just such a momentum team. We're such a snowball team. Yeah. You get hit with one try and then a quick one after. Yeah, that's a game done because we're going to hit you with another 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But when you get stuck in a rut and we're back on our own line, and like the Tigers you can see they're developing into a dangerous team. They've got some good young players in there, like that Junior Tupou. He's really good.
Yeah.
They've got a few young forwards. I think is his name Shane Bloor.
Yeah, Sean Bloor.
Sean Bloor.
Yeah,
is he young? Is he young?
Yeah, he is young. He was actually, and I'm not going to pretend that I went and found this stat myself. I heard it on a podcast. I think from Bloke in a Bar, that he captained like the New South Wales side. I think it was. So it was like the captains, like the under-19s or whatever. It was like Haas, and then it was Murray, and then it was Sean Bloor. Like, he was 20, up there with them.
Yeah, he's 22. And then they've obviously got that young kid whilst Coruscant's out, Talon De Silva.
Yeah, he goes all right, hey?
Yeah, he's not too bad. I was actually at Campbelltown Stadium for his debut.
Yeah,
and he had about a 250-person entourage on the hill, screaming his name every time he touched the ball. It was actually really funny. Yeah, but obviously, it's just, I think the Tigers squad's just patchy. Like, they've got quality in really good areas. Like, their forward pack's really good. Stefano, Clemmer, Papali, Bateman, yeah. Like, they've got some good forwards. But I think those backs and the halves, once they get a bit of work there...
they're missing Appy and Brooks and Dewey so much as well.
Yeah, if those three were there, they'd actually be probably, closer to 10th, 11th, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they obviously got a few good wins. They obviously got that shock win over Penrith earlier in the year. They obviously stunned us till after half-time on Thursday night.
They nearly beat the Bulldogs. They put on a late comeback. They were one.
That's right. Was that at Belmore?
Yeah. They put on that late comeback, and obviously we're premiership threat, so that says a lot if you're nearly beating the Bulldogs.
Wait, next year. As per your quote, next year.
2024.
It doesn't matter who we sign. 2024. Actually, back to the Dogs. What do we think of this Tino thing?
Oh, isn't that insane? It's so funny because it got blown out of proportion so much because the way, obviously I'm biased, so I'm gonna take the club side, but the way, from what I read and what I've heard, to my understanding, what happened was the Bulldogs sort of came up with the idea of, let's offer Payne Haas $4 million over 4 years is what's being reported, and we'll offer him a share in a pub as well.
You mean Tino?
Oh, what did I say?
Payne Haas.
Oh, no. Mate, we're also after Payne Haas, reportedly, so I'm like, I'll take them all.
Yeah.
We need some forwards. I'm desperate for some forwards. But yeah, sorry, Tino.
Yeah.
And then, to my understanding, they didn't offer him that. They went to the NRL and said, this is something we want to do. Can you tell us if we're allowed to? Like, they weren't trying to do it under the NRL's nose or anything.
They've come back and said that it has to be included in the salary cap.
Yeah, and then the NRL like, no, you probably can't do that. Because it was like, because Melbourne did something similar with a betting company. They had like players sign contracts and got shares in a betting company, but it's because it wasn't a guaranteed like return where Arthur Laundy, who's like the major sponsor that was offering the share, he said, if this doesn't make money, I'll pay you back for like your stake. And so it was guaranteed money. Whereas it has to take a risk. So
that's that. Yeah, that's
so like say
that's the catch.
Yeah.
That's the catch.
So say he was like putting a $100,000 investment, and if it doesn't like return positively, I'll give you 100,000.
If it doesn't return 100 and something %,
and that's where the NRL were like, well, no, because that's guaranteed money. Where if it wasn't guaranteed money, like if there was risk involved and it was like a normal investment, then it would have probably been allowed.
Yeah, and the Dogs ultras hate Tino as well.
Yeah,
they hate Tino after that.
Love Tino, bro.
No, after the Burton situation. Oh,
we've never said a bad word about Tino.
I wish I had your old TikTok to reference. Yeah,
there's a big old. Yeah.
We won't talk about that, Shan. We might have to put an explicit logo if we do. What other games were happening on the weekend? What do we think of the Raiders try celebration?
Oh, how good was that? If that's like dead set best try celebration ever.
That was so funny. And the fact that they actually put Elliot Whitehead as the batsman is the best part about it.
They put the pom as the pom. The attention to detail was insane. Like, there's English teachers all over the world wanting to rip apart that try celebration just because of the attention to detail.
Even Piers Morgan wanted to have a rip at it. He's like, not only you're an Englishman, you're a Yorkshireman. Have some shame.
Yeah, what a loser.
Eat your heart out, Piers Morgan. Eat your heart out.
It's for charity. Like, it bro's against charity getting $10,000. Are you serious?
Yeah, literally.
Have a laugh, mate.
Is it they pick, so I understand the try July thing, but the way that the money works is what they do is the best try celebration from that game. Is that what they do?
So every try celebration, $5,000.
Yeah.
And this is an unnamed betting company putting up this money. We won't go into details about the betting company.
Yeah, we won't. Yeah.
But yeah, so they put up $5,000 for every try celebration. But if it's a really, really good one, like that cricket one, 10,000, they double it.
Yeah, see, I thought it was just 5,000 across the board, and then I saw they got 10,000 for that one. I'm like, cool. Yeah. I wasn't sure what the go was.
And then the unnamed betting company has actually said if somebody in Origin recreates the famous grenade one, are you familiar with the grenade celebration?
Yes.
From Origin? I think it was Fletcher. Was it Fletcher that did it? I think it might have been Brian Fletcher, but I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah,
I saw a funny celebration on, I think it might have been Freddie in the 8th, of Joey John smoking the footy.
Yeah.
And he's just like covering his eyes. He's like, fair enough.
Yeah, they've said if somebody does the grenade one in Origin, 50,000.
It has to happen.
And like if the game blows out, like I think a team will do it. I don't know if they'll do it if it's nice and close.
Because, we've got the Maroons 13+ anyway, so it's all good.
It's like, because there's just for some reason, old school coaches hate the celebration and people said it's arrogant and stuff. I think let it happen all year round. I love the try celebrations.
I love them. They're great. But I think it's ever so special this month because with this unnamed betting company doing putting up the money, which is great. You know what? I reckon we put a hold on the rest of the games because you'll get into that on your own podcast probably.
Go watch Orange Peelers.
Yeah, go watch Orange Peelers. There'll be links to all his stuff in the description anyway. Do you want to start getting into Origin?
I don't know if I want to be honest. Just as a New South Wales fan, do we want to touch on Origin?
I love to touch on Origin. But yeah, there's not really much like to talk about in terms of like conspiring what's going to happen, going, oh, this could happen or this could happen or why was this selection made or this one wasn't. The only real selection thing that I've really taken notice of is 2 utilities on the bench for the Blues.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
And then Brad Fittler's come out and said there's no plan for one of them.
Which makes it even worse.
Yes.
Yeah, well, so there's Gutho and Reece Robson on the bench. One's a hooker and one's a utility, right? Game 1. Let's rewind. Game 1, Brad Fittler picks Nico Hines on the bench.
Good selection.
As a utility, great selection. Didn't have a game plan.
Awful use of selection.
For 10 minutes at centre when Turbo got hurt. They lose the game. Nico Hines gets dropped from Origin. Hasn't been that.
Yeah.
Game 2, Freddie goes, all right, that didn't work. Let's do the 2 hooker thing.
Good selection.
Like, yeah, it's a good game plan. Queensland do it every game and kill us with it every game. Where did Damien Cook end up playing?
Left centre. We watched it together.
Yeah, misused him. Obviously, there was an injury, but you could have put anyone else there.
Cameron Murray only played all his junior rugby union at left centre.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
You know, I forget the Raiders player's name. Oh, Young. He's been
Young.
now.
Yeah, he got
even Frizzell probably could have done a job at centre.
Yeah, 100%.
But no, let's put the hooker there and ruin that game plan, and we lose the game, lose the series.
Yep.
So what does Freddie Fielder do for game 3? He picks the utility
and the hooker. Mate,
why not both?
He's got both plans in mind.
He's too smart. Like, why not do both? Because they can't both go wrong.
And then his other 2 bench options are Yo and who's the other one? Saifidi. Oh, that's a weird selection.
So they got Yo, who.
Why would you drop Junior Paulo and pick Saifidi?
Why would you drop Junior Paulo and then pick his forward partner from club level in Regan Campbell-Gillard, when his halfback is his club halfback and the club fullback is on the bench?
Yeah, good point.
All he does is talk about combos, but then he drops the para front rower for the other para front rower.
And then, although he's been good for the Blues this year, I still don't think Crichton is the best centre option for the Blues, or at least the best 2.
Oh, well, look, I don't want to be rude to Bradman Best here, Josh, but why is Bradman Best at centre?
Well, why Matt Burton's been picked at 18th man for both game 1 and 2, and now he's not even 18th man for this. For this
couldn't get picked at centre, and but then because obviously the team was picked last week, and Bradman Best towed up Paul Alamotti against the Bulldogs when they won 66-0. Let me ask you this: the way that Brad Fittler has done his selections, if the team was selected today, who do you reckon would be centre, Bradman Best or Matt Burton?
Matt Burton.
Because how good did he play on the weekend?
He was brilliant. He had like 12 points, and I don't know the rest of the stats, but there must have
killed
been...
it.
Yeah, he killed it.
And that's the problem with Brad Fittler.
Wasn't he Bloke's Player of the Week?
He was Bloke in a Bar Player of the Week. And you know what? He's Check the Score podcast Player of the Week.
You know what? Yeah, why not? Whenever we do a podcast and we're reviewing games, we're going to have a Player of the Week or a Person of the Week.
And it was Matt Burton.
Yeah. The Footy Show have an unnamed beer company, Hard Earned Index. We're going to have our own one. Someone sponsor this podcast and we'll do a Hard Earned Player Index.
Yeah. Share that. 2 years or someone. Jump on.
Yeah, it's jump on. 100%. Someone reach out. Someone will reach out,
it's
surely.
Just insane. Like, not only is Stephen Crichton one of the centres where I've said all year that Burton's a better selection than Crichton, but then Bradman Best as well.
Yeah, well, go figure. I think they've put Crichton back on top of side for this game.
On the right, yeah.
But wouldn't it be crazy if you had a premiership winning left centre on the field?
Yeah, and hear me out, Josh. Hear me out. Just give me time to cook. But what if that premiership winning Dally M centre of the year that played left centre and will be playing left centre had his club winger outside of him?
That would be
the winger that he's like. It's one of the great duos in rugby league.
That would be crazy.
That'd be silly, to be honest.
Yeah, no, honestly, why would you even pick that?
That's rude to Bradman Best. You're being rude.
But he hates all Queenslanders, so it's all good.
Yeah.
He hates all.
He said he wants to punch on with Queenslanders in high school, so.
Yeah. Well, the last person that said that, their game 1 didn't turn out very well for them. So.
Who was that? Hines?
Hines.
Yeah.
I hate them all.
Yeah, and then, so you got the weird bench, you got the weird centre selection, and then Cody Walker at 5'8". Over Hines.
I get it if you pick Cody Walker in game 2.
Yeah.
If he's changing it for game 3, why wouldn't you go Hines?
Especially Cody Walker's 34 years old.
I know.
He's not going to be the...
And then Andrew Johns came out this week and said, I can see Cody playing till 38.
Yeah.
Are you serious, mate? How many players have played till they're 38?
Yeah. I don't even think Cameron Smith played for
that. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. It's like I know a lot of the greats had a lot of more injuries concerns to why they retired. Like you got Slater, Thurston, more recently.
Even
Joey, they all had injury concerns when they retired.
Yeah.
But you think Cody Walker is going to play till he's 38?
Yeah.
He's not even in the conversation for like best like halves in rugby league at all, and you think he's going to play that long? Like he's good. Like he's probably in career best form at the moment. But
everyone always says, "Oh, but he debuted late." It's like, yeah, he did debut late, but that doesn't mean he just gets an extra 10 years after everyone.
Exactly. Does that mean like does that mean like Sawali's going to retire at like 26? Like literally,
that's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter when you debut. Everyone retires around 35.
Yeah,
like, that's
right. Yeah, especially as a half. Halves tend to have a bit more longevity than most other positions.
Yeah,
less contact and not so much needing legs. It's more about technique and wits. But just.
And they like game 2. Obviously, Hines didn't get picked, and they were talking about like you talk about the right time to blood people, and Moses got picked because he'd played one game, he'd been blooded. Is this not the perfect time to blood Nicho Hines in a dead rubber at Sydney, where like the result literally doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Why not put him there? Like, name a better time in the future that there's going to be. Like Cleary's going to be back. Moses is already second in line to Cleary. You got all these people fighting over 5'8".
Yeah.
And like game 1 next year the series is on the line. Game 2 next year, the series is on the line. Do it now. There's no better time to blood him. It's just so silly.
I agree. I was also going to mention, I've seen a lot of things going around online about the Blues. Obviously, what hasn't been going around online about the Blues. But a lot of people talking about their ideal lineups for next year. And they're talking about Nathan Cleary being that Andrew Johns kind of player and maybe going into 9.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of chat about Cleary going into 9. What do you make of it?
I get it, but I don't get it.
You don't rate it?
I get it, but I don't.
I think he'd do a job there.
Oh, I think he would.
But he's the best halfback in the game.
That's my point. Why would you move him? It's like,
and then like I get like, oh, but Joey did. It's like that was what 20 years ago. The game's changed so much.
Exactly.
It was literally 20 years ago. That was around 03, 04.
How many tackles does a hooker make in a game? Yeah. And like, yes, Cleary defensively is very, very good. Probably one of the best halves defensively in the comp. But why would you waste him and his kicking game at 9? And you'd bring in Hines, who I love Nicho. I'm a Cronulla fan, but he has nowhere near as good of a kicking game as Cleary does.
No way.
Especially a long kicking game. Cleary's is way better.
And like as I said, like Cleary would probably do a job there, to be fair. Like especially with his wits and stuff. Like you think Cameron Smith, like his footy IQ at hooker. I think Cleary could be of the same mold, but you're just wasting the kicking game.
And then people are making comparisons to Ben Hunt about how he plays at hooker.
Yeah.
And it's completely different. Ben Hunt plays there and he gets rotated. I get a feeling that if Cleary was there,
it'd be 80 minutes.
He'd be 80 minutes and then put a utility on the bench.
You're not rotating with Cleary because why would you bench Cleary?
Exactly, that's my point. So if you're picking Cleary at 9, you're not picking another hooker. There's no chance, no shot.
Unless you're an idiot. Like,
exactly.
You'd be stupid to pick another hooker. Because you're not like you can't have Cleary sitting on the bench in State of Origin. He's like one of the game's best players.
Exactly. What about a Blues coach? Obviously, Brad Fittler. I think he's last year at the Blues. He's signed for next year as well.
I think he's off contract this year.
Is he?
I thought the same thing. I thought he was signed on to next year, but he said something in a press conference that I think he said this October.
I think it's the best. I think it's for the best.
Do you research?
I think it's for the best. He steps down.
Agreed.
No. Stay in the job, Brad. Stay in the job.
Brad Fittler, please quit.
No, please stay. I love you in your job. You're doing a great job for my boys. But who do we see as number 1 candidate?
I said to you 20 minutes after the game 2 finished, I said Michael Maguire. And the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. I'm still going Michael Maguire.
If I was a Blues fan, I feel the exact same way.
As a Queensland fan, who would you pick? Trent Barrett, maybe?
Mick Ennis.
Hey, don't diss the Bulldog Sharks legend Mick Ennis like that.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm going Michael Maguire. I think obviously he's not coaching at a club at the moment. He's a very emotional coach and a very passionate coach.
I think in the 2 months that Origin goes on, that emotion's enough. But if you had him for the course of a season, it's just too much.
Yeah,
he's obviously assistant at Canberra at the moment. But I think he'd happily leave that job.
I think you can keep an assistant coach job and coach Origin, to be honest.
I agree.
I think head coaching in Origin's different, but assistant coaching.
I actually think that if he didn't take the Dragons job, Flanagan would have been a good option.
Yeah, 100%. And even Hasler, if he didn't take the Titans gig.
That's still such a weird appointment. That's still so weird to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Why? Like, do you think Kieran Foran had something to do with it?
I think it's Ben Hunt. I think Ben Hunt had something to do with it.
But they've never been playing under each other.
I think Des Hasler went to Ben Hunt and said, I'm going for the Titans gig if I get it, like, signed. And then, like, they sort of came to an agreement. This is just, I don't actually think this happened, but this is my theory. It's a pretty out there, and then he goes to the Titans and says, "Hey, you want Ben Hunt? You have to hire me as coach because he's only agreed to come if I'm the coach," and sort of blackmailed him.
Because it was so like Justin Holbrook's job has been on the line a lot, but like I think he was kind of safe for most of the parts this year.
He was like they're battling for the 8.
Yeah, they're not doing too bad. And then obviously news broke about Tino and David Feeder this week, and
with the clause in their contracts.
Yeah, and apparently Melbourne as well as obviously the Dogs we've mentioned are in for Tino as well. Canberra still look the front runners for Feeder.
Yeah,
I think they've offered him about $1 million a year because obviously they got that Wyden money.
Yeah, I think it's credit to the Titans though for keeping it under wraps. Like nobody knew it was happening.
Yeah,
they did want to hide it.
Yeah, well, I was at 9 that week.
Yeah, true.
And one of the journalists got the call, and he's like, "Well, this just happened," and I'm like, "What?"
The newsroom would have been going crazy.
Yeah. Oh, the 4 people that were on the sports desk were like scurrying around trying to get graphics. It's like we need footage of Des right now. Like, it was but yeah, no, it was definitely an eventful week there. But, yeah. Do we want to take a cut and then we can get into the next segment? I reckon.
Yes, sweet.
Yeah, too easy. All right, we're back, and instead of just talking about the rugby league, I figured we'd try and incorporate a little bit of a game. We'll do a draft.
And
I think it's only appropriate. I'm a Cronulla fan. You're a Dogs fan. The best players to ever play for both clubs. Both clubs. How do we decide who goes first?
The old reliable scissors, paper, rock.
I think we can't go wrong with that. Cool. Right. Scissors, paper, rock.
Oh, I won. I never win.
So the way we do it is you get 1, I get 1, 2, you get 2, 3.
So snake order. So
snake order.
Right, first you get 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
Cool.
8th,
all right.
10th.
Who are you going with first then?
First pick. Now, this is going to take some thinking, I think, to work out, players that have played for both clubs. But there are a couple off the top of my head, and so with the first pick, I'm taking Michael Ennis.
That's a very good pick. Premiership winner at Cronulla.
Yeah. And it hurts me to take Michael Ennis because there's somebody else, one of my favourite all-time players that I'm probably handing to you.
You are.
But I think Michael Ennis...
How about 2?
Good option.
You're probably going to hand me 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
So my number 1 pick is going to be Josh Morris.
Oh, true. I didn't even think of him.
Josh Morris. He actually played for Cronulla. And
barely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He actually got 1 State of Origin game as a Cronulla player.
Really?
He did. Yeah, he did.
There you go.
And then my number 2 is obviously going to be the Queenslander himself, Ben Barber.
Yeah.
His prime is compared to that of 2009 person in prison we won't name. And
honestly,
and
Ben Barber's had his history as well.
Yeah. And then 2021 Turbo as well. All 3 of them compared for their prime seasons. But
just keep in mind his prime season. Where was that at?
The Dogs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But he won a premiership.
Where did he win his premiership?
Yeah, but he won his premiership.
He said on a podcast that his favourite season of his career was the Sharks one.
Oh, it would be. It would be. Yeah.
Because of the premiership.
Yeah, but he was also doing other stuff that year as well that we only found out years later. All right, you got your 2, 3.
Yeah, so my second overall pick, I'm going Dale Finucane.
That stings. That stings.
Current Shark legend. And now this is where it gets tricky because I'm struggling to think of any more. Might have to do some editing here, Josh.
Yeah.
1 eternity later.
Because you said you got up 11.
I have a list of 11, but I don't want to show you. I'm actually going to keep it fair. I'm going to keep my phone there.
Because you give me no prep. Well, you did give me prep.
I told you a bit in advance.
Yeah. Were they current or like how old were some of them? Were we going back a bit?
So one of them's recent, kind of. One's still playing, but not at either of our clubs. Then there's a few. There's a few there, and there's a couple that are retired as well. Most of them are retired, but they were still recently. They've played in the last 10, 15 years.
I literally can't think of any.
Can't think of any?
Nah.
Okay.
Can I Google?
Go for it. I'll let you Google.
I'm just going to pull up a list of Sharks players because I know all the Bulldog players.
Yeah. No, because that's what I did last night. I went through Canterbury players.
Yeah, and you're like, oh,
and I'm like,
familiar.
wait a minute. I'm like, he's played for Cronulla, and one of them I had a guess because I had a feeling he did, and he made one appearance for Cronulla, and he scored one try.
So he's a try-scoring legend.
What a guy!
I should go
back into. Fun fact about this player: he's probably going to be around my number 5, but he actually plays in my local rugby league comp, Group 6.
There you go.
2 of them do actually. 2 of them play Group 6 rugby leagues.
A couple of legends getting around.
Yeah, mate. They play down in Camden. What a guy!
Oh, I'm seeing a lot of names that like ring bells now.
Alright, go.
So I'm gonna take Jonathan Wright.
He wasn't even on my list.
I'm taking Jonathan Wright. He was a grand finalist at the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Really underrated winger.
Does that mean?
Oh, I've got to pick 2.
No, you picked Finucane.
Oh yeah,
Finucane.
yeah. True,
so I get 4-5 now.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I'm really happy about that. I am gonna go with Brett Kamali.
Yeah, he's literally Origin player. He should have been. Honestly, he should have been number 1.
Nah, I think the picks that went before him were good.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then, you know what? Just because I have an emotional attachment to this player, just because he's so funny, Sharon Woods, mate. Sharon Woods at number 5.
You can have him, bro.
Sharon Woods. Brad should have picked him in the blue squad. He knows it.
No, you can have him.
I'll show you the list now because there's actually
So I've got to pick 2 more.
There's 2 current Dogs players that are on this list.
Really?
Yep, 2 current Dogs players. One of them's pretty obvious.
Oh, you know how I'm taking action. I'm going to take Aiden Tolman.
That's the one I was going to pick instead of...
Yeah, I'm taking Aiden Tolman.
Instead of Aaron Woods, I was going to pick Aiden Tolman. But I had to pick Aaron Woods.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I want him, though.
No, there's a couple.
Yeah, there's one in the current...
There's 4.
Oh,
what? There's 4.
All right, and number 5, Trent Hodkinson.
No, he played for Cronulla. Oh my gosh. No, I forgot about him.
Bulldogs legend. Origin legend. Origin folklore.
How did he go at the 5? Oh.
Last pick of the draft, I've got an Origin superstar.
You actually might have saved that at...
He broke the streak.
Oh my god. I forgot he played at Cronulla. My other 4 were obviously Kyle Flanagan.
Yep.
Franklin Pele.
Oh yeah, true.
Bryson Goodwin.
Yeah.
And Tony T-Rex Williams played 1 game for Cronulla.
Oh, there you go. You know, there's somebody on that list that you might want to take here. Because I think you got 1 more pick left.
I do.
Actually, you know, I'm not going to tell you because you might take it.
I know. I had Josh Morris, Ben Barber.
You went 2-2 and now you get 1.
Yeah, I got 1.
This is potentially to win the draft.
Oh, is there one that I'm forgetting? Like a big one?
There's a big one you're forgetting, mate.
I don't know. Oh, people are going to be screaming right now. I think my safest bet is to go with... Because you know what? He did play Origin. I've got to go with Tony Williams.
Yeah, fair.
He did play Origin.
Not at either of our clubs, I don't think.
No,
not that matters.
I think he played whilst he was at the Dogs.
He might have the first year.
Or was he at Para? No, it would have been Manly.
Right,
yeah,
he was such a dud.
Yeah.
You know who you left off?
Who?
Michael Leisha.
Yeah, all right. That's yeah. I was gonna say yeah, all right. Yeah. Nah. That definitely wasn't on my list. How did I forget Trent Hodkinson? I'm actually gonna quickly whip up his stats.
Just going through this list, there's a couple that you haven't named. Avis Samuel Fage. Do you remember him?
Nope.
He played for us, I think, last year. Daniel Mortimer. Obviously, he wasn't very good, but like...
He played 4 games for Cronulla, Trent Hodkinson.
There you go. I don't even remember him playing at the Sharks.
That's why it slipped my mind.
Yeah.
4 games. Oh, he played...
Fuamanu Brown?
Yeah.
And then, as I said, like Leisha. Daniel Holdsworth.
I just remember him at Dogs in Newcastle. I don't even remember him at Manly.
Don't ya?
Nah.
That's where he like debuted.
Oh, he's born in Campbelltown, my area. Like, what a guy. But yeah... Far out, how did I forget him?
Trent Hodkinson. Legend.
Trent Hodkinson. I think that generally that draft might be pretty even.
Rennie Matua. Trent Barrett. I guess he didn't play for the Bulldogs though.
Yeah. That's pretty even, I reckon.
Yeah, I think that.
Because Aaron Woods in his prime was like top 3 props in the game.
And that's it depends how the audience want to judge it. Like we're going their prime at each club, they're the highest level ever. If we go
the lowest low of all those players. Like, that draft is shocking. Literally, Broncos Ben Barber.
Yeah.
Bloody Brisbane Michael Ennis.
Yeah.
Like, you get...
like, Knights Hodkinson.
Yeah, exactly. You get the worst of the worst of these players.
Sharks Josh Morris.
Not funny.
No, he played reserve grade at one stage for us.
Yeah.
He played cup for us at one stage.
Yeah,
that's it. Because some of the if you take them at the absolute peak,
yeah.
you got Origin players, but if you take them at the lowest,
You got Australian players.
Yeah.
You got Josh Morris who played for Australia. So did Ben Barber. Literally insane. And then you think about it. What was I going to say? Like, you get those players that have played those rep games, and obviously, like, some of them on the bottom of the list, like, obviously, like, Franklin Pele and Cole Flanagan, probably never going to play a rep game in their life. But yeah, I think Brett Kamali's the one that went... I think that's your shocker. That might be a downfall. But people will probably let us know who won.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty even, but I think maybe just me.
I'm happy to lean towards you. Brett Kamali, you got Kamali, Morris, Barber.
Yeah.
Like
Sharon.
If you take the three best players from either side.
I wanted Finucane, I wanted Finucane just because...
Ennis, Finucane, Hodkinson's probably my top three. And then...
Well, Hodkinson would be one of your best, for your favourite players of all time.
Legend, mate. Legend. He did so much for the Dogs.
Yeah, as a Dogs fan, man, it's like me trying to let go of Nico right now.
Yeah, he was just because Bulldogs, we don't have that many rope players, right? Like,
yeah,
we went through that period where we were good in the early 10s and we had Hodkinson and Reynolds and Clemmer and Jackson all in Origin. And to see, your club halfback win and, not only win an Origin for your state, an Origin series, but to break the 8-year streak. That is historic that he's the one. And, it was he scored the try and kicked the goal.
Yeah.
Not only was he alpha, he won. It was such a good time.
Speaking of Origin and streaks, what do we think of Queensland doing a clean sweep?
I think they'll do it.
I think they'll do it.
I
think a core is not a fortress like Suncorp.
And
not at all. Any rugby league fan can see that.
Especially on a dead rubber.
Exactly. And I think you've got suburban rugby league grounds that you may consider fortresses like Belmore, even Shark Park to an extent.
Yeah.
Bluebet Stadium where Penrith play at. Brookvale to an extent.
Leichhardt.
Yeah, Leichhardt. Yeah. All those stadiums are fortresses, but Suncorp, just nothing compares. Imagine having a 40,000 capacity stadium and it's just always full.
And it's literally full of Queensland fans.
Yeah. And obviously you get your pockets at a core of Queensland fans.
Yeah.
But it's not like that at all at Suncorp. It's literally a sea of red.
Yeah, it's another level, Suncorp Stadium.
I'm going to try and get there next year for Origin, I reckon. I'm going to try and get there.
I was there for Magic Round. It's just the way the stadium is, it just echoes and everything. It's just so loud.
Insane. Predictions for the game?
I'm going to go, if we're doing margins and stuff, I think Queensland 13 plus. I actually had a multi on, Monday morning, I put on this bet, because Origin teams all the rumours were coming out, and it was saying, Walker's going to get picked, all these South players are going to get picked, and I was looking at the Bulldogs head-to-head, they were paying $4 or something, and I'm like, if all these players are out, surely that comes in. And so I put a multi together of the Bulldogs, I threw in the Sharks for some value, and then I put in Queensland 13 plus, because...
And it's still riding?
I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I've put in Queensland 13 plus because, once again, all the South players getting picked in Origin, that's going to make New South Wales less likely to win.
Yeah.
So the reverse effect. And so that, it all came in, but as teams got announced, the bet was the cash out was higher than the bet place. It was already a profit.
Yeah.
And then the Sharks leg got up, and then the Bulldogs leg got up, and there was a cheeky cash out sitting there. And I was like, do I ride this into Origin, 13 plus? I cashed it out and put on a cheeky little less than $2 bet, because I was like, I just want to turn it into 100 and I'll cash it out. And so I rolled it into the Dolphins Titans game, and I got all the legs except a try scorer. I had Valence or Cam Pereira, either of them to score a try, and neither of them scored a try.
How?
I know. It was paying so low as well. Cam Pereira had one disallowed, so that was just absolutely heartbreaking. But yeah, in saying all that, I'm going to stick with what was in my multi, Queensland 13 plus. I hope they don't win 13 plus, though, because that'll hurt. Not only is a New South
Hope and think are two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a New South Wales fan, it'll hurt. As somebody who had that bet on, it'll hurt.
Yeah. But
what do you think?
I think I can see it going the same way. Queensland 13 plus. I was actually looking before you came around today, and I was looking at it I think it was paying at $10, and it was Crichton 6 points or more, because he'll be kicking for the Blues.
Yeah. True.
Queensland 13 plus, and then either
Don't place that bet. Moses kicks for the Blues.
I don't think he does.
I think he did. He did in game 2.
Did he in game 2? Are you sure?
Yeah. Moses is a goal kicker.
Yeah, I know, but so's Crichton.
Yeah. I feel like Moses will goal kick.
Okay.
I
didn't put it, but I think Crichton
double check it because I feel like Moses will be goal kicking.
Yeah, I'm gonna check the game 2 scorecard, and then I think it was gonna be either Tulangi or Coates to score.
Maybe they got Crichton doing it just to take pressure off Moses.
Yeah. State of origin.
Yeah, Moses is a better goal kicker than Crichton.
Yeah, Crichton.
There you go. Okay.
Obviously, for the only one try you scored, but
that's interesting.
He did kick it.
It must be to take pressure off Moses.
Yeah, that's why I was going to put Crichton 6 or more, because obviously if he scores a try and kicks one...
I love going goal kickers 4 or 6 plus.
Yeah.
So good.
It's like Nico. Nico or Burton's a great pick for 6 plus.
Yeah. They can score a try.
Exactly.
3 goals.
Exactly. 100%.
You go.
Oh no, you go. Sorry.
So what about a try scorer?
A try scorer?
Well, let's spice it up.
Should we go for a roughy try scorer, or should we go just plain?
Let's go roughies. Let's go roughies.
Big Red.
Oh yes,
my guy. I reckon. Do you think even Brimo's a roughie?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say he's a roughie. He's too good. He scored on debut. I mean, like sort of, yeah.
Yeah, no.
He's not Hammer. That's
actually, the only reason Big Red won't score is because he's coming off the interchange.
He'll score.
He'll score.
You get a feeling that he's going to score immediately.
I wish he still had that mullet. Oh man.
I'll give you a roughie. Daniel Saifidi.
Yeah, Jacob scored under the post in game 3 last year.
Oh no, sorry, it is Jacob. See, I got to mix up. That's why. Yeah, Jacob Saifidi off the bench. He scored in his last game.
He scored it under the post last year.
Yeah. He's got form.
Yeah, and who else are the front rowers? I'm just trying to think. Cotter, that's probably not a bad shout either.
Yeah.
Collins. He'll jump over Teddy.
He's going for the Lewis.
He'll officially end Teddy's career as a rep football.
I'll give you one. Chaz
is a good shout. Yeah.
Potentially his last Origin game.
Nah, he'll play next year.
I reckon he retires.
What, on a series win?
Yeah, I reckon he's going to go out.
And then what? Ben Hunt will play halfback.
Yeah, or Dearden. Can Dearden play 7?
I'd rather Hunt.
They might have Dearden off the bench.
Nah, I want to see Hunt at halfback, and then I want to see Marnie off the bench.
I'll tell you, future. I don't know if he's a Queensland. He probably isn't, but future Queensland halfback, Toby Sexton.
He is Queenslander.
There you go. He'll be the halfback. Give it time. I know a lot of people sort of toss up Tanner Boyd as like down the track.
I like Sexton more than Boyd. Yeah. I like Sexton more than Boyd. Yeah, I wonder why you affirm that. Do we want to do some tips for the week and then call it there?
Let's have a look at the games coming up this weekend. I can't recite them off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know Knights and Tigers are playing on Friday night.
Yeah, Knights Tigers Friday night
at McDonald Jones.
You got to go. I'm going Knights.
Yeah.
At home against the Tigers.
Since KP's gone back to fullback, they look like a whole different team.
Yeah, don't they?
Yeah.
And they beat Premiership heavyweights the Bulldogs by 66. So obviously they're a pretty good team.
Yeah, they'll do the Tigers at home. Yeah. They'll do them. I'm saying 1-12 though. The odds don't suggest that.
Honestly, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I said before the Bulldogs game that the Knights the only times they win is they just grind out games, and in losses as well. They're just a grinding team. But then they put 66 on the Bulldogs. I'm like, oh well, they can win big.
Yeah, they can put points on if they want.
Yeah.
But do you reckon Bradman Best will back up, and Jacob Saifidi?
Probably depends how Origin goes. I think if
I don't know. Do Knights have any other players out? Bradman Best, Jacob Saifidi. Any Knights plays for Queensland? No, Gagai doesn't play. So no, it's just them two.
Yeah, it's hard because of the
Knights have depth at the back anyway. They've got like Anari Tawala and Dom Young, obviously.
I'll back Best to back up. I'll back him in.
I say Jacob backs up because he's coming off the interchange.
Yeah,
but not Best. Fair. If he goes 80 minutes, it depends. Like for instance, if Best starts dropping a stinker, he'll put Gutherson at centre, and then Best.
And if Best isn't involved, if he doesn't get through much work, he'll back up.
Yeah,
it just depends how the game goes.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so hard to predict.
He'll be busy on that side. That's
that's
Holmes' side.
And
yeah. If it was Hammer, it'd be a long day.
Yeah, 100%.
He is arguably player of the series, I reckon. Arguably,
yeah, he's up there.
It's either him or Collins or Cotter. Them three.
I feel like my Smokey's Cherry.
Yeah.
He's just been. If he can have a man of the match performance game 3, I think he gets it.
Yeah. It would have been Reece Walsh if he was playing game 3.
Yeah, Hammer's a good shout as well.
Yeah, Reece Walsh would have probably been it if it was game 3. But yeah. What do we think of that for him getting suspended for the discipline?
He should have got a longer suspension. Nah, honestly, my honest take.
Do you reckon he was actually saying it to the ref?
I think he was talking to Carrigan, from what I've read and heard.
Well, I heard 2 different stories. I heard it was at Fafita, and then I heard it was at Carrigan. Right. I heard he was saying it to David Fafita, but then he wasn't looking at Fafita. He was looking at Carrigan.
He was looking at Carrigan,
and then David Fafita got on the stand at the judiciary and tried to fight for him, and he said, when he said it at the ref, I mean Paddy.
Yeah, that's where he sort of got screwed. I think if he doesn't say that, he probably gets off. To be honest,
he'll be off with like a heavy fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good for the Bulldogs because he misses the Bulldogs game this weekend.
Yeah, and they've got Saylor playing at fullback, eh? Tristan Saylor, he doesn't look too bad.
He's had some good games this year.
Yeah, because he played obviously when... I don't know if he played the game. Did he play the game when he was out for game 2? Because I know he played game 1.
Against the Wars, and he killed it. Game 1.
Yeah, game 1 he killed it. I remember when he filled in for Walsh. Because then the week after, Walsh backed up against Cronulla, and we just looked awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the Broncos, that's the next game against the mighty Bulldogs at Belmont.
Is he going to poo on Josh Reynolds' party? Or I know he's not going to play in this game, but is he still going to poo on the party?
Well, this is interesting because, once again, who's going to back up? Like, are they going to back up or not?
Paddy would back up.
Because you got so many Broncos players.
There's still no Flegler or Walsh.
Yeah. And they got Paddy,
Paddy. I
think the fact it's in Sydney makes it likely that they.
Cobbo's not playing Origin, so he'll be playing.
Yeah.
I still think that's a weird selection, eh? They didn't pick Cobbo.
Yeah, that was very, very weird.
I get he likes Tulangi, but I think my ideal wingers are probably Coates and Cobbo.
I would have gone Cobbo Tulangi for game 3. Coates came in.
They looked more dominant in game 2, but do you think that's just because the squad was worse? Like
the New South Wales team was worse, yeah. At Suncorp.
Yeah, I think the New South Wales team was...
Cobbo's so good.
Yeah, I know.
Like, as a New South Wales player, like, whoever's meant to be marking him, who's that winger? Toto.
Yeah.
Be cheering.
Yeah.
I guess maybe they want to go the aerial route again.
I mean, I think...
Oh, no.
I think Coates has more assets to his game than Cobbo, but I think the areas where Cobbo and Coates can both do, Cobbo can just do better.
Yeah.
Like, he's quicker. Actually, maybe not. Coates is actually really quick.
Coates is
only because his stride is so
But,
long.
like, what about that try Cobbo scored? I think it wasn't on the weekend. It was the weekend before where he just, like, chip and chased over the Broncos. That was disrespect.
Ridiculous. Yeah. I'm going to say Broncos 1-12.
I'm going to go... Doggies 13 plus.
Reynolds to back up Cup in first grade.
Yeah.
Manly Cowboys.
This one's tricky because it is at Brookvale.
Yeah. And no turbo.
Before the last month, the Cowboys have been bad in Sydney, like really bad. But now they've sort of found their footing. There's a few players that'll be hoping to back up. Obviously, like Scotty Drinkwater's in camp, but he won't play, you'd assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cowboys as well.
I think...
If Drinkwater was named in the blue squad, then I'd probably say Manly. Yeah. Swing it.
As I said, like, because the game's in Sydney, way easier for them to back up.
Yeah, because there's a lot of players they're going to back up. You've got Nene, Cotter, Bull Drinkwater's 18. Tulangi. I was about to say Hammer, but he's at Dolphins. But yeah, I got Cowboys. I reckon a close one. And then I'm saying Melbourne are going to thrash the Roosters.
Yeah, I agree. I think Melbourne get it done. I'm going to go 1-12.
I reckon they kill them. I reckon they blow them out of the water. Especially with those players coming back from rep.
I don't reckon Munster backs up here.
No, they'll play Jonah Pezzett.
He's a gun.
He's a gun. I was watching him at Campbelltown Stadium when Tawley scored his first try, and he was just ripping.
He's so a good player.
I actually think the West were looking at him. I heard reports that...
I don't blame him.
Yeah, he's a gun. He's really, really good. Because they obviously had a lot of young kids. Like, they're trying to blood a lot of kids like Tyrone Wishart and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that Jonah Pezzett, he could be anything. He could be anything.
He's such a good player.
And then you got the Wars versus Cronulla
in New Zealand. The market surprised me a little bit. I didn't think it'd be that tight. but it sort of makes sense,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
we've got no players out to rep footy. Neither do the Wires.
Where are the Warriors on the ladder at the moment? Yeah,
They'd be
this
like
is
sixth.
this is Warriors 1 to 12.
Are they sixth? I think.
Yes, Sharks can't beat top 8 teams in New Zealand. Sean
Don't
Johnson's just had a
disrespect the
kid.
boys like that. I'm
No,
saying
not
Nico
Warriors.
Masterclass, Cronulla 1 to 12.
So it's always so tough I reckon that's one of the hardest away trips at the moment. Warriors in New Zealand.
It is.
always
They've
been
built a
Panthers,
fortress
but-
since COVID.
Yeah,
It's like got not obviously the history and the aura like Suncorp, but the fans go off as much as they do at Suncorp.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The signs. I remember the Radley sign that got made, like get in the bin.
Yeah.
It was so good.
yeah.
And then we got 2 more games, and then I think we might call it for the day. We got Dolphins versus Penrith. I can see it's going no other way.
Cleary's meant to come back.
I've heard
I'd push him back another week if I was the
team sheets come out in 3 hours,
Yeah,
so we'll know for sure whether he'll be back. I don't think Ivan's going to play him.
surely you'd give him just that. As soon as he's ready,
Jack
give him
Cogger's
another
been
week.
doing well.
Even 2 weeks on it, because I think they play us next week. Give him 2, like not biasly because I don't want him to play against us. Like if you're the Panthers, surely rest him.
Yeah,
These 2
your
weeks
your
when it's,
final
against bottom 4 teams.
your finals coming up. It's round 20.
Like you don't want to rush him back with his a hamstring as well. Like him, I think honestly they should rest him for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I say yeah. I reckon
Give him all the time he can.
Jack Cogger's doing his bit.
and he can return against the Sharks.
Yeah. All right.
Gonna be super fit. So who you going? You going Dolphins or Panthers?
I'm going Penrith in an absolute onslaught.
Yeah, I'll go Penrith here as well.
And then Para versus Titans. And I'm going to go Titans.
Oh, for the upset.
Moses backing up. RCG backing up. Gutho. All backing up.
I'm going Eels.
Dylan Brown in the news.
Yeah.
Not for the right reasons.
Nah, Eels have been
Titans
really
have been
well
on
lately.
fire. Been scoring points for fun. It looked good on the weekend against the Dolphins. Para have been on a bit of a run recently.
Yeah.
I think that's all going to come to an end.
Yeah, I'm not tipping against Parry here. They've been playing some real good footy. It annoys me.
Yeah.
It annoys me.
I think Moses was arguably the best player for the Blues in
Yeah.
game 2.
He was top
Him or Liam Martin. Liam Martin's been the best player for you
Toe.
guys all series. Toe.
Always does the job.
Yeah, but yet again, I think his best asset is just still his kick. Like his PCM and
100%. Yeah.
PCM and kick return meters. Like
He's just a front rower.
yeah, literally. He's attacking. I mean, the Blues in general attacking have been shit, but I just don't know. I can't put my finger there's no real area of the Blues where you can put your finger on it and be like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the issue. We need to change this. It's just like we're just playing crap.
I think it's coaching.
What? Who said that? But yeah, that's our tips.
Yeah, sweet.
Too easy. All right. Well, thank you, Winston, for coming on today. I
thanks for the
really
invite.
appreciate it.
Always love
And
jumping on and talking some rugby league.
yeah, well, uni's off at the moment, so we don't get this
I
opportunity.
haven't seen you in a minute either, so
Yeah, we don't get this opportunity all too often, so it's glad to have you on. And go check out the Orange Peels podcast. They've just posted their Origin preview, and their weekend review will be out later in the week.
Yeah, that drops Thursday. Make sure you subscribe. Check the Score podcast. Hit the subscribe button.
Check the Score
Follow
podcast.
on Spotify.
Yeah, bit of a collab here, and we'll see you next time.
Sweet. Let's try it.